YouTube Ozzico in the Goat House is back with my locks and bets of week 5 of the NFL season. We're here every single Thursday with this video going over spread locks, straight up locks, money line options, parlay options. We take a look at some props for Thursday Night Football as well. So going over all that, of course, and you see a list of our content in the bottom left. We have score predictions, picks against spread for every single game for this week that's already up, goes up every week. Power rankings and a lot more. Check it out. Like, subscribe to notifications on. Follow us on Twitter. A lot of extra things going on there. I'll post my betting tickets on there as well. Sponsors, Liquid IV GLD shop, code GOAT on both sites. Giveaway for the GLD shop, who has some nice jewelry. Links pinned in the comments for anything I just rattled off there. So, locks of the week, starting with the spread lock. I'm going to go with the Jets plus 2.5. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but I'd rather just go Jets money line because I really think they're going to win. Why they are my spread locks, because I really think they're going to win the game. The Broncos are fair for a reason, though, and they are home, so that's why it's a little tricky, but I love the matchup for the Jets. I went a little more in depth in that in our score predictions video, but the Jets can play defense. I don't think that the Broncos offense will give them problems. It's not like the Chiefs offense, but the Jets defense really didn't have problems with the Chiefs offense as it was. So I like the matchup. And it seems like anybody can score. Even the Bears last week can score on the Broncos defense. So I think it favors the Jets. I'm surprised they're underdogs. And I do like the Chiefs -4. I'm surprised that that's that low. They should beat them beating the Vikings by around 7. Vikings can score, but the Chiefs offense is better. Their defense is much better. So I like them in that game. Spread locks, we are 2-2 on the year. Last year wasn't so hot. Before that, we were doing very well. Spread picks still positive 10-8. So something I added this week, it's more for if you're trying to put a parlay together, you want to make it a little safer, obviously, because parlays sometimes they're pretty tough to hit. So getting some alternate spreads in there, which I'm a fan of doing. So these are the ones I came up with. I do like the Lions a lot. I like them a lot in general. Like, they're going to beat the Panthers. They're going to beat them big. I have them winning the game by 11. The spread was 9.5. It's moving up a little bit. If you're putting it in a parlay, for an example, you want to be, you get that odds boost. You want to be a little more, a little safer. So move it down. I'm not saying you exactly have to do 6.5. I do like it, at 6.5, keep it under 7. If you're just trying to win your parlay, if you're doing a massive parlay, then drop it down even more. Go 4.5, 5.5. They definitely will cover that. So, and then Miami, -5.5. I'm a little more confident with the Lions just because the Lions, I think their defense will also stop. We know they'll score. Their defense will also really slow down the Panthers. Where Miami, we know they're going to score. It's a little up in the air, like how much the Giants will score on Miami because their defense is a little sketchy, but they got that crazy home field advantage in the heat. The matchup, they're going to win. They're going to win by a pretty good amount. -5.5, I feel good with. The Commanders play tonight. -2.5, they should win by very, very least a field goal. I have them winning by 9 points. And the Jets, if you don't like the money line as much as me, but you think they should keep it close, yeah, I really don't see them losing by more than a field goal if they lose. So the +3.5, I feel really, really safe with that. But why I listed them last, I rather take the money line or the normal +2.5, honestly, with the odds because I feel comfortable with that. So first time this year we gave some alternate spread options. I mean, almost every game you can feel confident with different spreads, but these are the ones I almost want to get. Like the Lions are going to win by more, and they're going to win by a touchdown or more for sure. So that's where I came up with those. On to the straight up locks, which we should do well. We've done very well on them this year. 4-0 on the actual lock. So 100% through 4 weeks on the actual lock to win. I have the Lions up there. So pretty good shot the Lions win because of that as well. But they're home against a struggling Panthers team. The Panthers struggle to stop the run against a dead last Vikings team in running the football. The Lions are very good running the football. They're going to put the game away that way. They can win this game in any way. They can throw the ball, they can run the ball, they can win with defense, but mainly running the ball. So I trust them. The Dolphins, I trust a lot as well. They're just better than the struggling Giants. They're home with that home field advantage because of the heat, and they beat up man coverage. The Giants run a ton of man coverage. The Commanders should beat the Bears Thursday night. The only thing I think that's a little tricky is the Bears could kind of go back to playing that offense where it's just there's design runs for Fields. And the reason they're not doing that right now is because they don't want to run that off because you don't win Super Bowls with that offense. So they want to see if Fields can run, a pro-style offense before they have, before the draft comes up where they can take a quarterback. But at any given time, like last year where it was like out of nowhere, the Patriots game, they went to that, and then they were able to move the ball, but they still really lost games besides that game. So that's the only thing, but the Commanders at home with that defensive line and the production they've had on offense, I think they can run the ball only all night and they can still win. So I like the Commanders. And the Chiefs, I hesitated to put this up here because the Vikings can score and they're probably better than their record. And the line is surprisingly low. Usually when that happens, Vegas knows something, but the Chiefs should win that game. I mean, the Vikings, again, they can score, but the Chiefs can score, especially on the Vikings defense. The Vikings also turn the ball over a ton. By that alone, the Chiefs should win, but you factor in the Chiefs defense has been playing solid this year. The Vikings defense is solid when they're able to blitz. When you blitz Mahomes, it doesn't go too solid. So I like the Chiefs in that game. I'm more confident with the top three, but I do like the Chiefs. The upset money line, of course, I'll go with the Jets. They're my favorite spread lock as well. I'm about to put money on the Jets money line. Or in a parlay with with the plus 2.5, whatever. But I like them. That I'm the matchup guy. The matchup doesn't always win. Sometimes there's weird things. It's the beauty of football. But the matchup just says Jets all day. In my money line locks, we lost our first lock last week. That number one lock. So we were 3-0 before that, 3-1 and 7-4 total. Picking only underdogs. We're easily above 500. I think that's pretty damn good. I'll take the Jets in the upset, and then we'll throw the Texans. I'm surprised the Texans are underdogs. They're all putting the Saints up here as well, but in terms of money line, they're not underdogs, but they are plus. Some apps I see them +1, some I see them minus. It's weird. I haven't seen it even yet, so didn't throw that one up there. But I do have the Saints winning in a squeaker, in case you're wondering. But the Jets and the Texans, I have both winning. I like those teams getting points here, getting some odds. So that looks pretty good. We've done pretty good on everything we've talked about. Over/under, not so much. I have not done well on the over/unders. It's been some weird games too. I had the Rams Colts and it was sitting at 23-0 for a while. I was feeling really good. And then the Colts came back. It goes to overtime. The Rams score a touchdown in overtime to win the game. So that kind of forced the over. So yeah, kind of things like that have been going on and I had the Rams-Bengals over the previous week, and the Rams were in the red zone quite a bit, only getting field goals instead of touchdowns because for some reason they weren't running the ball to Kyron. So these has kind of been a little unfortunate. But yeah, if you want to trust my other picks, go ahead. If you want to not trust this one, I understand. 1-3 on the locks and 3-4 total picks, but I think we'll get the hang of it. I think it actually starts getting easier when it gets cold out. Like the first few weeks it gets cold and there's those games in like the East Coast or wherever and it's outside, like hammer the unders on those. And we're not quite there yet. We're getting there though, but I do like the Saints Patriots under 39. Of course, it could be a close call, but when I was predicting my score, I did 17-16 Saints. That was kind of the high end. I was thinking around like 13-12, like somewhere around there, because these teams, neither team has scored over 20 points yet. They are struggling to score. They're struggling to move the ball. They're both more defensive teams. So under 39 should hit. I didn't want to get carried away with the over-unders, but I really thought about the over for the Dolphins-Giants. I thought about, there was a few other games in there as well. Trying to think. I had just ones I considered, but I'm not actually picking. But there was another under in there, but it's not important because I'm not taking it. So that's really the only one I like there. And then kind of my best bets ranked. I'm doing pretty well on these. Last week was kind of weird, but doing pretty well on these for the most part this year. I like the Jets money line. This is where you kind of got to use your own opinion as well. Like if you absolutely hate any of these, don't bet on them. But also, if you want, like I like the first three I have in a parlay. The Jets money line, so obviously you're getting 120 plus 120 with that. So then you could afford, because it's a parlay and you got the plus 120, you can afford to do the alternate lines. And I do love the lines and the Dolphins alternate lines. So I like those together for parlay. Could throw Commanders money line in there because it's somewhat safe, but Thursday nights could be weird sometimes. So I like those first three. But say you don't like the Jets money line, maybe you want the plus 2.5. You do that. Maybe you want to increase the lines, to 9.5, 8.5. The Dolphins, same thing. Or you can drop those down. Like if you're good with the Jets money line and you want, you're not crazy. You don't care if you're getting these crazy odds. Drop the Lions and the Dolphins down to -4.5 because they definitely should cover that. 3.5, 4.5, whatever. If you just want to do a 2-gamer and you got the Jets money line and you just want, the second part, because some of those apps have like a boost if you do a parlay. Sometimes it's like a 2-game parlay. Sometimes you have to do 3. So if you have to do 2 parlay to get a 50% boost, go Jets money line or Jets with the line, and then just go Lions straight up like money line because you don't want to. You're only doing the parlay for the boost, so you just get a guaranteed straight up lock. That's why I do like kind of the other slides that we talked about. If it's a 3-gamer, then go Jets money line. Lions the -6.5. Maybe you want to do. Well, I would actually, if you're going to do one money line, if you're going to go Dolphins alternate line -5.5, then maybe the Lions money line makes a little more sense because of odds. But if you're trying to, just because some of those apps they make you do 2 or 3-game parlay just to get the 50%. I've seen people make the mistake of, even myself in the past, like do 3 normal games like as your parlay. Like no, if you're forcing a second game or a third game, who cares what the odds are at? Who cares what the odds are at? You're getting that 50% boost. So that's a little tip there. But I like those 3 a lot, and you could tinker with that a little bit if you want Jets with the points. You want to move your alternate line with the Lions or the Dolphins. We should start doing over-under alternate lines since we haven't been missing the over-unders, but even those are tricky. We thought we had one with the Seahawks-Giants, and that the Giants only scored 3 points in that game. That's surprising. But Commanders money line, and if you want a Jets alternate line, that should be a lock at +3.5. Chiefs -4, and the Texans should upset so I have them at the bottom. They should pull the upset. Doesn't really feel like much of an upset. But that's what I got for this week. I'll definitely be messing with those first 3, and I'll definitely have a Thursday night parlay as well tonight. It's a good reason to follow us on Twitter. I always post my tickets on there. Last week was a little weird, I thought. But, yeah, these are some of the ones that are my favorite. Brian Robinson Jr. playing a little safer for the 50-plus rushing yards. He definitely should get over that. You see on the bottom I listed his, it's 64.5. My money's on him getting over that, but if I'm putting a parlay together, I'll feel a little more comfortable with the 50+, and you get the odds boost on a lot of apps with the Thursday night. Howell, you can go 225 if you want to play a little safer, do 200. Where it's a little tricky with that, he should get over 225, but where it's a little tricky with the 225 is they can just beat the Bears by running the football. The Bears have a bad run. They have a bad everything defense, but they have a bad run defense, and the Commanders could run all over them, get a good lead, and the focus could just be run the ball, run the clock, and that can limit Howell's passing yards. But he definitely should get over the 200. I think I'm not in love with doing the anytime touchdowns, but Brian Robinson Jr. should be getting a touchdown, like a load of action in the red zone. A load of snaps in the red zone. Like, he's the guy there. And he can even break one against the Bears defense, and how good Brian Robinson is, but how much the Bears struggle. He could break one for a touchdown as well. McLaurin should go over 50+. His over-under is, where was it last I saw? I thought it was a little, he should get over it, but I thought it was a little bit too much. I'm more comfortable with the 50+. I could see Dotson having a game. That's where it's a little tricky. And the odds on, you would think like the odds on Dotson getting 40+, 50+, like would be really good, but they're not. They're not too far off for McLaurin. So of course I'd feel safer with a McLaurin 50+ than a Dotson 50+. But I have a feeling Dotson can have a pretty decent game, and it seems like Vegas think so as well. So if you're feeling the same thing, you're feeling both. I think Dotson scores a touchdown. Now that's tough to bet on in a parlay. Maybe that's something you do by itself, or if you do a Dotson and a Robinson touchdown, that's tough as well because it's 2 Commanders players. But Dotson actually has the targets in the red zone. He has 4 of them, a bit more than the other receivers. So Dotson seems to be the red zone guy, but he's also a deep ball guy that can hit the home run. So I'd watch out for him to have a sneaky game. I think he has a touchdown, but it is a little tough. We talked about Robinson could go over his set over-under. Howell could go. I'd be a little careful with Howell just because, again, there could be a lot of running the football. Then DJ Moore, 40+ receiving looks kind of appealing. It's just scary with the Bears, with their offense and how it just shuts down sometimes. but DJ Moore is very good. He should get over 40. And the odds are pretty decent for 40 plus. I think his over-under is actually set just over 50, like in the 50s. Another one I almost put it, Komet touchdown, another solid one. Going Komet, at first glance, I was like, Komet 25 plus yards feels good. The odds felt pretty good. I'm like, that almost seems like too good to be true for the odds to be where they're at for 25 plus. And I was doing a little bit more of my research, and the Commanders are pretty damn good against tight ends. They haven't been great through the air this year, but against tight ends, they seem to lock them down a bit. And then given the Bears' inconsistencies on offense, it kind of scared me off the Komet yardage. But he is the red zone target, and he had a lot more targets last week. So that's another one I don't have listed. But definitely doing, and I'm still trying to figure it out and see what the odds do. But I'm definitely going to do something with Brian Robinson Jr. Like, it's a must to have at least one thing from him on your card. And the other ones I'm still considering. It is a little, do we throw in, I should have thrown that in there. You throw in like a Commander's money line or a Commander's alternate spread at 2.5? Those are a strong possibility for me. I was kind of just looking at the player props, but I should have thrown that in here. So Brian Robinson will probably be in there, maybe twice with the touchdown. I am thinking about Howell 200 plus passing, but it's not the greatest odds, and they're going to run the shit out of the ball, which will drain the clock. And then McLaurin 50 plus is a decent shot that's in there. But then we take a look at maybe a Commanders money line or Commanders minus 2.5. Bring that spread down a little bit. Those are strong options. But we'll keep you up to date with Twitter with what I'm going to go with here. I like to wait a little bit. Sometimes it backfires waiting a little bit. But those are my favorite ones for you to think about. But just if you had some in mind and you're I kind of match those, and that's a good idea. Those are the ones to go with. I always kind of leave that as a tip there. Don't completely change your mind because I said something here. But, that'll wrap it up. And then we'll talk about Sunday props once we get there. I already like some with the Chiefs-Vikings game, like a Mahomes over 275, Kelsey over 50 or 60, Jefferson over 70 yards. Like the three of those really actually look pretty damn good, and which I think will be an explosive, high-powered game. So that's one I'm kind of already taking a look at. But that will do it. Check out our other videos. You will not be disappointed. We have those every week. Like, subscribe to notifications on. Check out those important links in the comments. Follow us on Twitter. It's also very important. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.